Here are the top stories for today, February 9, 2021. President Duterte orders the use of public schools for COVID-19 inoculation program. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara orders the NBI to go after profiteers and hoarders of pork. Broadcast giant ABS-CBN still can't operate even if it gets fresh franchise from Congress. And the mayor of Lapu-Lapu City wants to declare rapper Easy Mill persona non grata. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered the use of public schools as venues for the mass immunization program. He said this would be the last resort, specifically in the cities, if other venues are not available.
My order is to utilize the public school. Hindi pa naman ginawala pa naman klase. Public school buildings. Kung wala. If there is no malaking coliseum or gym, then we will utilize the schools. It is really giving people the shots to make them healthy.
President Rodrigo Duterte appealed to the Communist Party of the Philippines and its armed wing, the New People's Army, to guarantee the unhampered and safe transport of the COVID-19 vaccines throughout the country. COVID-19 vaccination drive is expected to start next week. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. said the military and the police will help in securing the delivery of the vaccines. He said the 117,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines produced by Pfizer will be the first to arrive, and these will be delivered in one tranche. It would be followed by the arrival of up to 9 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines to be delivered on the first and second quarter of this year.
I am appealing to the Communist Party of the Philippines, yung pinaka-umbrella. I don't consider yung mga NDF, pati NPA, na huwag ninyong galawin ang medisina. Allow the vaccines to be transported freely and safely. I am asking you now to observe that rule because that is for the Filipino people. As I have said, the money belongs to the Filipino people. It credits, the credit goes to no one. Sa inyo ito, mga taong Pilipino, pera ninyo ito. So, natural lang na kayong mga members ng Communist Party of the Philippines and the allied NPA, NDF, or whatever, kindly observe the rules of humanity. Hindi naman kailangan natin baka maulit kagaya ito yung mga pera, yung mga pantawid na pag-deliver, ini-intercept ninyo.
A measure seeking to expand the mandatory immunization program for all life stages has been approved in the Congress. The bill filed by Quezon Representative Angelina Tan seeks to include other vaccine-preventable diseases in the mandatory immunization program. Under House Bill 8558, or the proposed Mandatory Immunization Program Act, the mandatory immunization program shall include tuberculosis, diphtheria, tetanus and pertussis, poliomyelitis, measles, mumps, rubella or German measles, hepatitis B, H. influenza type B, rotavirus, Japanese encephalitis, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine or PCV, human papillomavirus, and booster for measles, rubella, tetanus, and diphtheria. It will also include other types of vaccine-preventable diseases as may be determined by the Secretary of Health. Zamboanga, Cebu, and Davao are all set for the rollout of the mass immunization program. Local government officials are coming up with measures that will better educate and inform the public on the importance of the COVID-19 vaccines. The details from Marita Muahe.
In Zamboanga City, the local health office is now finalizing plans for the inoculation program in their area. Among the priority groups are the healthcare workers, essential and other frontline service providers, and the vulnerable sector of the population, such as the elderly and poor. The city government is also preparing the logistical needs for the deployment of the vaccines, identification of the cold storage and vaccination sites, as well as identification and training of vaccinators and allocation of funds. Mayor Maria Isabel Clemaco Salazar has signed a multilateral agreement with AstraZeneca for 410,000 doses of vaccines for some 205,000 residents of the city. In Cebu, residents are urged to still follow the minimum public health protocols even with the conduct of a massive vaccination for COVID-19. DOH Chief Pathologist Dr. Mary Jean Loreche said there should be no change in the way the people fight against the disease, and the wearing of face masks, physical distancing, and other health protocols should still be observed. Loreche, who is also the spokesperson for COVID-19 in the region, said despite the probability that UK variant is already in Cebu, there are no changes in the roadmap for the massive vaccination program in the province. She also said that the vaccines considered by the Philippine government would be effective even against the new COVID-19 variant. And in Davao City, an Information Education Communication or IEC material written in the vernacular is being developed to educate the public on the importance of COVID-19 vaccine. Mayor Sara Duterte said the Baweños can relate more to what they are reading if it is written in their local language. Another strategy, she said, is to hold small group meetings to disseminate the importance of vaccines at the grassroots level. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Muahe.
The Philippines is ready to begin its coronavirus inoculation drive by Monday, February 15. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said it would only take a day or two to start the vaccination program once the first batch of COVID-19 vaccine arrives. Are you willing to take the shots? Let us find out the answers of some of our kababayans in our Boses ng Masa.
Magpapabakuna ako dahil isa ito sa mahalagang instrumento para mawakasan ang pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 at maibalik muli ang ating normal na pamumuhay.
Bakuna dahil gusto ko makasiguro sa kaligtasan ko at ng anak ko.
Patulog ako ng bakuna para sa COVID, para hindi ako magkasakit at ang pamilya ko.
Ako'y magpapabakuna ng COVID-19 vaccine. Unang-una, ako'y naniniwala na ang bakuna ay epektibo. Pangalawa, ang bakuna ay makapagsalba ng buhay. Pangatlo, ang bakuna ay magbibigay ng proteksyon laban sa kontra sa sakit na ito. Pang-apat, ako'y naniniwala sa medical science. Pang-lima, ako'y naniniwala sa ating health authorities tulad ng WHO at saka ng DOH. At ang panghuli, hindi ako naniniwala sa mga sinasabi ng tao na ang COVID-19 vaccine ay hindi epektibo na ayon lamang sa kani-kanilang mga persepsyon na walang scientifico at medical na basehan.
Still to come, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara orders the NBI to go after profiteers and hoarders of pork. And broadcast giant ABS-CBN still can't operate even if it gets fresh franchise from Congress. More on this when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The National Bureau of Investigation will go after groups or individuals profiteering and hoarding agricultural products, including pork. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara issued the order amid the rising prices of pork. Under Department Order number 029, the NBI, through Officer in Charge Eric Distor, has been directed and granted authority to conduct an investigation and case build-up on alleged violations of Republic Act 7581 or the Price Act. President Rodrigo Duterte earlier approved the creation of a subtask group on economic intelligence to go after smugglers, profiteers, and hoarders of agricultural products. The president also signed an executive order imposing a price cap on select pork and chicken products in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo said a long-term solution is needed to address the shortage of food commodities. Senator Go said the imposed price cap on pork and chicken, which is only effective for 2 months, may not be enough to stabilize the prices. He also appealed to the traders and retailers not to resort to pork holiday, as it would worsen the situation amid the negative impact brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. President Rodrigo Duterte said he will not allow ABS-CBN to operate even if it gets fresh franchise from Congress. Duterte said ABS-CBN should settle first their unpaid taxes. Deputy Speaker Vilma Santos Recto filed House Bill number 8298, seeking to renew for another 25 years ABS-CBN's legislative franchise. ABS-CBN ceased its broadcast operations on May 5 last year.
Ang Congress is planning to restore the franchise of the Lopez. Wala akong problema doon kung i-restore ninyo. But if you say that if they can operate, I will not allow the NTC to grant them the permit to operate unless and until babayaran ng mga Lopez ang taxes nila. I will ignore your franchise and I will not give them the license to operate. Kalokohan yan.
President Rodrigo Duterte has signed an executive order creating the National Amnesty Commission as a step towards attaining peace in the country. Malacanang said the commission would be tasked to process applications for amnesty of former rebels and determine whether the applicants are eligible in connection with the recent amnesty proclamations pending concurrence in Congress. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the commission would be composed of 7 members, including a chairperson and 2 regular members. The ex-officio members include the secretaries of the Departments of Justice, Defense, and Interior, and the Office of Presidential Peace Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity.
Ano ba ho itong amnestiya? Ang amnestiya po ay isang kapangyarihan ng presidente na nagbubura sa mga pangyayari. Yung iba po, binubura lang yung parusa gaya ng probation and parole. Pero amnesty po, parang hindi nangyari ang mga bagay-bagay na nagawa ng ilang mga grupo. Na usually po, isang krimen na magiging krimen ng rebellion. Now, pinirmahan din po ng ating Pangulo, Presidente Rodrigo Duterte, isang executive order na nag-create ng National Amnesty Commission. Kasama ito sa ating hakbang tungo sa kapayapaan, kung saan inalok natin ang kamay ng kapayapaan sa ilang mga grupo para sila po ay bumalik sa normal at payapang buhay.
Some 1.6 million workers and around 30,000 establishments will benefit from a wage subsidy under the proposed Bayanihan to Arise as One Act or Bayanihan 3. Labor Assistant Secretary Dominic Tutay said the proposal involved not only workers but also youth beneficiaries who have been out of the labor force during the pandemic. Under the said proposal, the DOLE will subsidize a portion of the salary of the workers for about 3 months. Tutay also said the measure will only cover micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs. Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Malacanang appreciates House Speaker Alan Velasco for filing a third version of the Bayanihan Bill. Roque, however, said the government will only use Bayanihan 3 if fiscal stimulus under the 2021 national budget and Bayanihan 2 are not sufficient enough. The Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises or CREATE Act will attract investments that will create more jobs. The bill is seen to encourage more investments with a lowering of the corporate income tax rate and modernizing incentives such as income tax holiday. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said the landmark reform bill is expected to bring in a massive inflow of investments. He said the bill will firm up the tax and incentive reforms that will make the investment climate significantly more attractive. Lopez also thanked lawmakers with Senator Pia Cayetano and Representative Joey Salceda, respectively, as principal authors for the hard work of the committee members in bringing the CREATE bill to fruition. CREATE is a bill certified urgent by President Rodrigo Duterte upon the recommendation of the economic team led by Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III. The government is urged to boost agriculture development for the country to survive the probability of an economic disaster. Albay Representative Joey Salceda pushed for the implementation of Plant, 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 the Department of Agriculture's flagship project. Salceda said investments in agriculture create jobs, improve output, and lower price pressures. He said agriculture can address the economic problems of inflation, low growth rate, and unemployment triggered by the pandemic. Salceda also stressed that the country must accelerate vaccine rollout to return to more normal levels of output. He said economic managers have to do something about the price increases in pork, vegetables, and fruits. Oil companies implemented today an increase in pump prices. In separate advisory, Chevron, Clean Fuel, Petrogas, Petron, PTT Philippines, Sea Oil, and Shell will raise gasoline prices by 85 centavos per liter and 1 peso and 10 centavos per liter on diesel. Chevron, Petron, Sea Oil, and Shell also announced a price hike of 1 peso per liter on kerosene products. The movements in oil prices reflect the rising fuel prices in the global market. Industry analysts have seen global oil prices climbing back to pre-pandemic levels due to improving demand from Asia, especially China. This is also supported by the continued efforts of oil-producing countries to limit supply. Up next, a health expert says COVID-19 vaccines is safe for people with asthma. And the mayor of Lapu-Lapu City wants to declare rapper Easy Mill persona non grata. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Commission on Human Rights has found human rights violations by the Communist New People's Army after the group killed last year the indigenous people's mandatory representative of Lianga, Surigao del Sur. Rebels admitted killing Datu Hawudon Jumar Bucales, the IPMR of Lianga town, in an ambush on October 4, 2020. CHR Caraga said the attack on Bucales violated the principles of distinction and precaution. These ensure that civilians are distinguished from combatants, are not attacked directly, and spared in armed conflict. It also noted that the attack also killed 2 other civilians and wounded others. The military welcomed the CHR's findings. Lieutenant Colonel Joey Baybayan, commander of the Army's 3rd Special Forces Battalion, said the killings and other forms of human rights violations committed by the NPA would finally be given justice. At least 630 residents in Aurora province availed of various services conducted on Monday by the Philippine Army's 91st Infantry Sinagtala Battalion. The 91st IB offered free haircuts, medical checkups, and feeding activities to the residents in Barangays Toytoyan and Gupa in Dipakulaw as part of its enhanced Adopt a Barangay Kapwa Ko Sagot Ko program. They also distributed enhanced comprehensive local integration program leaflets and held an information drive on infiltration of the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army. Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Leandro Rubio acknowledged the efforts of the Army, police, and the local government in curtailing the activities of communist terror groups and promoting the NTF-LCAC whole-of-nation approach. A health expert allayed fears of a severe attack among persons with asthma once they got inoculated with the COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Romel Crescencio Lobo, a clinical immunologist and a member of National Adverse Effects Following Immunization Committee, said getting a COVID-19 vaccine is not a contraindication for persons with asthma. Lobo noted that asthma attacks are often triggered by an aeroallergen around the environment which patients inhale and is different from the COVID-19 vaccine or its component. He said vaccination for an asthma patient would be deferred if they suffer an attack but would still be able to get the vaccine. The World Health Organization says the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine and Moderna have been found to be safe and effective in people with various conditions that are associated with increased risk of severe disease. And in sports, the Philippine Basketball Association has agreed on some key developments that will involve Gilas Pilipinas men for its upcoming season. The PBA Board of Governors decided on Monday to arrange for Gilas men to play as a guest team in the Philippine Cup scheduled to start on April 9. While they will play as a guest team, PBA Commissioner Willie Marshall said Gilas men are eligible to win the championship in the season opening conference. The collegiate players in the national team will first need to secure special guest licenses from the Games and Amusements Board to be cleared for PBA action. If successful, the Nationals would become the first Philippine national team to capture the top-tier league title since the fabled Northern Consolidated Cement-backed national squad during the mid-80s. Lapu-Lapu City Mayor Junard Chan wants to ask the City Council to declare Phil-Am music artist Easy Mill as persona non grata. The rapper steered controversy over the lyrics about the Cebuano hero Lapu-Lapu in his now viral Panalo song. Chan said Easy Mill has made a mockery of Lapu-Lapu when he sang about him being beheaded in Mactan. Easy Mill's song went viral after his performance on the Wish USA's YouTube channel, which now has about 27 million views. In a virtual press con on Wish's YouTube channel on February 4, the young rapper, whose real name is Ezekiel Miller, apologized to those who were offended by his inaccurate story. Lapu-Lapu is regarded as the country's first national hero. Coincidentally, the 500th anniversary of Lapu-Lapu and his men's victory at Mactan against Spanish invaders will be commemorated this year. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte orders the use of public schools for COVID-19 inoculation program. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara orders the NBI to go after profiteers and hoarders of pork. Broadcast giant ABS-CBN still can't operate even if it gets fresh franchise from Congress. And the mayor of Lapulapu City wants to declare rapper Easy Mill persona non grata. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell you stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.